Did you know? There was a man who sacrificed everything, family, community, and security for just one thing: his right to think honestly. He was not a nobleman or a famous professor, but an ordinary lens grinder. Yet, from his quiet workshop, thoughts were born that shook the foundations of religion and philosophy, inspiring Einstein centuries later. Who is he who chose loneliness for a truth that the world was not yet ready to hear? That man was Baruch Spinoza, 1632 to 1677, a Dutch philosopher of Portuguese-Jewish descent. At the age of 23, he was faced with the hardest choice: to retract his radical thoughts or be excommunicated from the Jewish community of Amsterdam. With extraordinary courage, Spinoza chose to be socially executed, ostracized, and losing all family ties so that his mind could remain free and honest. To support himself, he worked as a grinder of telescope and microscope lenses, living simply and moving from place to place. In this solitude, he wrote his masterpiece, Ethics, written with a strict logical structure like geometric formulas. Spinoza offered a very different view of God and nature. God is nature itself. For Spinoza, God is not a personal figure in heaven separate from his creation. God is nature deus, sive natura. Everything that exists is a manifestation of one eternal divine substance. In other words, studying the laws of nature and science is the best way to understand God. True freedom, man's ultimate freedom, is not the freedom of will, but freedom from the shackles of emotion and blind desire. True freedom comes from a rational understanding of the laws of nature and oneself. The path to happiness, true happiness, beatitudo, is obtained through the intellectual love of God, amor Dei intellectualis, which is the inner peace that arises when we understand ourselves as part of the grand whole of the universe. Spinoza died at the age of 44 due to lung disease, suspected to be from inhaling glass dust from his work. He died in poverty and obscurity. However, his thoughts lived on and flourished, influencing the age of Enlightenment and inspiring figures such as Goethe, Hegel, and Albert Einstein. Einstein even declared his belief in Spinoza as God, God who reveals himself in the harmony of everything in nature. Spinoza is living proof that the greatest power can come from silence and integrity. He taught that thinking honestly, no matter how heavy the consequences, is the most noble act. In a world fond of the spotlight and praise, Spinoza's story reminds us, sometimes, the most eternal truths are born from the workshop of a lens grinder who chose to be faithful to his own conscience.